Hello, everyone on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Substack. So far, those are the platforms we're on. There'll be many more platforms. There'll be many more platforms. Um, Suggest platforms to me to be on. Um, First of all, before we even start, hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, and hit the like button. Today is gonna be a very short live. It's already 12:30 in the night. I was in meetings. Um, I'm involved in a lot of activities and a lot of community organizations and a lot of political stuff. So, but today was a big win for Zohran. Why? He was able to deliver one of his major promises, which was establishing a Department of Community Safety, which, if you don't know what it is, the Department of Community Safety is actually gonna have alternative means of incarceration. In other words, you're gonna have people that are gonna need social services, and so they're gonna have mental health experts um, actually address the needs of people, right? So of the mentally ill, and instead of using police, what's going to happen is they're going to be using social workers, mental health professionals. With when in the case that people are not dangerous, they will be responding to these mental health crises. And instead of having police that are not really trained to handle mental health crisis, now it's going to be actual mental health professionals, right? So this is going to help alleviate the caseload for police officers that have to respond to a lot of calls. So this is going to actually alleviate the. Oh, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. How's everyone doing? My name is Celso Garcia. Introducing myself live from New York City, right? Live from New York City. As always, every day I stream, or at least try to stream, at least an hour, right? So I try to stream at least an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I can't be like Hassan Piker, right? Hassan Piker streams for like 3 hours a day, unapologetically. Um, and I just want to get this out there, right? I did not know who Hassan was. I heard about him. I heard people mention it. They told me check out his podcast. It's a good podcast. Check out his uh his actual YouTube. I only saw a few videos and I like what I saw. But then now recently I started watching him more and I'm really appreciating his content and how he puts things together. He's also an ally of President, sorry, Mayor Zohran Mandani. I didn't mean to say president, right? People might get upset about that one. So I meant to say Mayor Zohran Mandani that has been getting a lot of wins. Right? We've been getting a lot of wins lately. He's been getting a lot of wins. And for the Democratic Socialists, he's been representing the agenda that that they push forward, and he also pushed forward, right? So this Department of Community Safety was one of his major promises in the campaign trail. This was one of his major promises that he will actually have a Department of Community Safety to address the mental health issue and have an alternative to incarceration, right? Have an alternative to the way we're incarcerating people, right? Um, as you know, in the United States of America and even in New York, being a democratic state, we incarcerate a lot of people, right? We incarcerate a lot of people. And it costs a lot more money to incarcerate somebody than it does to provide mental health services or to prevent the person from actually identifying what services this person needs and identifying um, exactly how you can help people, right? Once you identify how you can help people, then you can actually help people. Um, and without harming them or harming their families or having super aggressive police officers um, have a violent confrontation with somebody that might not be emotionally ready to face a challenge, right? To face a challenge. Um, and so now we're living in crazy times where we have an acute crisis in New York City. We have a big crisis in mental health where people are not taking care of their mental health and people are not going out as much. People are not socializing as much as they used to. This starts to isolate people and causes people to uh, have more instances of mental health problems, right? Along with some people say genetic results and a lot of things that happen, right? So, what do we do? I don't know if you know, I used to work for the MTA, New York City Transit, right? And when I was at the MTA, I had to deal with a lot of um, unhoused people, people that didn't have a place to live, people that had uh, were struggling, right? They didn't have a place to go, and the easiest thing to do was just to get on the train, get on the bus, and uh, and find a warm place, right? With very low entry, right? So a lot of homeless people, a lot of houseless people ended up on the train and on the bus. I drove a bus actually. So a lot of them will end up on the bus and um, arguably they will get upset when you would tell them it was the last stop on the bus because that became the de facto home, right? That became the de facto home where they were keeping warm and where they were technically having a roof over their head, right? So I'm gonna connect all the issues, right? Um, and it was very good what Bernie Sanders said that when we don't spend money on one thing, we're spending money on another thing, right? Also, Hassan Piker said the same thing. When we don't spend money on healthcare, that means we're spending money on other stuff, right? So the show today is going to be very heavy. It's going to be very heavy. It's not going to be for the faint of heart. So I suggest you listen and pay attention because there's so much going on in the world. That's kind of hard to put it all in one place, all in one show, especially if I'm doing a short show. But the most important thing is that um, the truth goes out there, and it gets me upset, right? We got so many Donald Trump apologists, right? That apologize for him, that feel like they're responsible for his actions, but they apologize. But the question is, are they really sorry for the things they say and the things they do? Or are they just worried about self preservation and taking care of their own good, their own families, their own friends, right? That's the main issue. Now we're dealing with self preservation, and that's what's happening in Iran, self preservation. People are trying to preserve their own life, and it's getting messy over there. But here in New York, Zohran Mandani is getting wins. Believe it or not, he's having wins that people thought he couldn't have, that he were impossible. But it's like Field of Dreams, right? If you build it, it will come. If you build it, it will come, right? And it will be something that will come if you build it. Um, it will come, right? And so Zoran is trying to find a way to treat people with human dignity, respect, not be seen as a number, but be seen as a human being that needs to be treated with kindness, right? So a lot of people say, "Oh no, he's Muslim." That's what I keep hearing. He doesn't want to do any good. He's gonna destroy us. But the thing is that people don't mention is that Zoran is a smart politician, right? He's real smart the way he works things, right? The way he works things, the way he moves. He's real smart and very dedicated to the cause of democratic socialism. And people say, oh, democratic socialism. Well, I think it's catching on, right? It's catching on. And a lot of people that you thought would never support this type of movement support it because DSA, Democratic Socialist America, I'm just expressing my own point of view, my own perspective, not any organization's perspective, but they have a different approach as to the world, society, um, how the world turns, right? They have their way of doing things, right? They definitely have their way of doing things. Everyone hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, and let's hear the speech of Zoran's new community safety director. I didn't even check her title, but she's in charge of a new department that's going to do things boldly and differently than they have ever been done, right? So let's listen. Um, these are all the people that work in City Hall. They're excited, saying there's the public advocate, Jamani Williams, in the front. Um, and so let's listen to what Zoran has to say, right? Should I skip? Yeah, let me just start from the beginning so you won't say I skipped it, right? Let's start from the beginning. Okay, started. Starting up. Big victory for Zohran Mandani. Department of Community Safety has been established. We issued an executive order establishing the agency of community safety. It was a big campaign promise.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It is an immense pleasure to be here, and there are a number of people that I want to thank for making this afternoon a good one. First, I want to say thank you to my Chief of Staff, El Bisgard Church. She brought this idea to life over the course of our campaign, and she has brought it to fruition now within our administration. And I want to say thank you to my first deputy mayor, Dean Fulehan, members of my leadership team, many of whom are here with us. I want to say thank you to our public advocate, Jumani Williams. And so many of our partners in the council. We have Councilmember Althea Stevens, Councilmember Sandy Nurse, Councilmember Tiffany Kavan, Councilmember Yusuf Salam, Councilmember Alexa Aviles, and Councilmember Shahana Hanif. And a special shout out as well to all of the advocates, community leaders, and CMS groups who are gathered with us here today.
So there's a lot of people, progressive members of city council, and also very important members of Mandami's team, making a big announcement. He's getting win after win.
It is an immense privilege to serve the people of New York City as their mayor, to strive every day to build a city that...
And Salam, as you know, was elected to the city council. He was one of the Central Park Five that was wrongfully convicted, sent to jail, and Donald Trump attacked them and helped have them incarcerated. So he's also there. Salam, he's on the city council now.
Is more affordable, that is fairer, that is happier and healthier. As we seek to fulfill the public's trust, we do so with a top priority that does not waver, ensuring that every New Yorker is safe in the city that they love. It is that commitment to a safe New York City that brings us together today as we make a groundbreaking announcement, one that fulfills the change that more than 1 million New Yorkers voted for, and one that will allow this city to approach public safety with the seriousness, innovation, and commitment it deserves. I am proud that shortly I will be signing an executive order to create the Office of Community Safety, the first major step towards building the Department of Community Safety. This executive order will appoint not only a commissioner of the Office of Community Safety, centralizing existing public safety agencies under the jurisdiction of the OCS, agencies which include the Office of Crime Victim Services, the Office of Gun Violence Prevention, the Office to End Domestic and Gender-Based Violence, the Office for the Prevention of Hate Crimes, and the Office of Community Mental Health. It will also be a part of an announcement that I am delighted to make this afternoon, which is that Renita Francois will serve as New York City's first ever deputy mayor.
Where's Deputy Mayor? In the Mandani administration.
I didn't even get to finish her title. She will be New York City's first ever deputy mayor of community safety. And
Deputy Mayor of Community Safety. So they're basically, Zohran Mandani is trying a different approach to policing. The alternative way of not having to incarcerate people, but finding a way to counsel people. And some people are saying that crime is going to skyrocket. Him doing this, and allowing the police to be reduced, right? So by allowing his police to be reduced, he's actually going to cause more violence. He's going to cause more problems because there's going to be less police watching. There'll be more cameras though watching, but less police, right? Is it bizarre? Some people say the crime is going to spike. That's what a lot of people in the right wing are saying. The crime is going to spike. Less police officers.
Vernita's commitment to justice began in her childhood in South Central LA, continued in her early career working in Brooklyn Family Court, and has been guided by the many years she has spent trying to transform both the way that government approaches public safety and the outcomes it can deliver. Over the past 4 years, Vernita has helped guide the work of Beyond Impact, formerly known as Tides Advocacy, a nonprofit dedicated to advancing social change. Before that, for nearly 7 years, from 2015 until 2022, Vernita worked in the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, helping to lead the Mayor's Action Plan for Neighborhood Safety. The Mayor's Action Plan for Neighborhood Safety represented a precursor to much of the work that Vernita will now lead as the Deputy Mayor overseeing the Office of Community Safety. As the Deputy Director and later the Executive Director of that, Vernita sought to improve safety across our city.
So he's not breaking a promise. He's trying to keep a promise. So he did it by executive order because it will have to be a charter revision or a change in the law for him to be able to establish this office. But he's doing it. He's getting a jump start. And because city council is known to move very slow, especially if something they're not interested in or think that's going to cause friction. They don't approve a lot of things, right? So if you would have went through the normal approval process, it would have taken him years to get approved.
With community-driven solutions, violence reduction, and intra-agency coordination. This was a demanding role with immense responsibility, both in terms of the hundreds of millions of dollars in investments that Vernita oversaw and the expectations that New Yorkers placed in her to make our city one where they were safe and knew that they were when they would let their children play outside or take the subway at night or walk the halls of their public housing development. Those expectations remain front of mind for millions of New Yorkers who call this city their home. And they will be what I turn to Vernita to fulfill. As Vernita leads as our deputy mayor and oversees the Office of Community Safety, she will have a clear purpose to deploy effective evidence-based solutions that target the root causes of violence so that no New Yorker falls through the cracks.
That's right.
For too long, we have approached crime and safety by placing only ever-expanding expectations on the police department as we have asked them to address every failure of our social safety net.
That's right.
Crime is one of the most complex issues we face. And yet our city's approach for far too long has been to rely on a patchwork of programs to deal with interconnected problems. No longer can we sustain a cobbled together approach to an issue of such immense importance. We must instead pursue a whole of government model, one where our strategies are centralized and implemented with coordination and at scale, and one which a deputy mayor oversees.
So, alternatives to incarceration, mental health services for mentally ill people, less police responding to the scene of what they call EDP, or emotionally disturbed person. And will it work? That's the question. Will it work? It's better to work with a person with mental health issues with an expert, right? Or somebody that knows how to handle them, as opposed to a police officer that had just received maybe one class on how to deal with people with mental health issues, right? So this is a big win for Zohran, right? Big win. Will there be legal challenges to it? I think that's what he was holding off on, to make sure that when he signed this executive order, it was legal and he was following the procedure. And that's the most important issue, right? Let's keep listening to his speech, right? I want to hear what this person has to say.
Will demand a multifaceted approach to a wide array of challenges across the city. It will require ambition, compassion, and competence. And I am lucky because I can think of no one better prepared to deliver exactly that and assume exactly this responsibility than Renita. I want to speak about some of the areas where the OCS will lead. The Office of Community Safety will house 3 divisions: the Division of Neighborhood Safety, the Division of Community Mental Health, and the Division of Strategic Initiatives. First, the Division of Neighborhood Safety will focus on violence prevention and victim support. It will oversee violence prevention, hate crime prevention, domestic and gender-based violence prevention, and it will also provide survivor services. By centralizing that work within the same division, we will be able to bring unprecedented strategic focus to preventing violence in this city. The Division of Neighborhood Safety will also confront the pernicious scourge of gun violence, which has stolen the lives of far too many of our fellow New Yorkers. As part of the executive order that I will be signing shortly, the Commissioner of OCS will serve as the chair of the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force. The OCS will invest in the community-based violence interruption programs that have a proven record of success, and it will expand the crisis management system. I am honored to have leaders within CMS here with me today. So many New Yorkers can speak to the efficacy and lasting impact of the work that they have done. We are going to give them the support that they need to widen their reach. As hate violence has surged across our city, with a pointed focus on Jewish New Yorkers, Muslim New Yorkers, Black New Yorkers, Asian New Yorkers, as well as our LGBTQIA+ community. The work that OCS will lead on hate violence prevention has never been more critical. OCS will confront hatred head-on by reinvigorating the Interagency Committee on Hate Crimes, creating new restorative justice processes, and growing our youth-focused efforts.
That's the key word: restorative justice. What is restorative justice, everyone? Restorative justice is ways to get people that have committed crimes reintroduced into society and also prevent youth from committing crimes. In other words, you put it into place programs that will keep youth from actually committing crime, and if they do commit a crime, a way to rehabilitate them and to allow them to grow as people instead of just putting them in jail, spending a lot of money, um, making the situation worse and making the mental illness worse than what it is, but actually understanding and catching it.
Included by strengthening the school violence response team. Finally, we know that too many New Yorkers who have been victims of crimes have felt isolated, alone, abandoned in the aftermath of them. This office will change that, offering robust, integrated wraparound services that meet survivors' needs. Second,
so instead of police officers handling domestic violence victims, it'll actually be actual counselors, actual people that are trained in mental health services and providing support. Instead of police officers, which have abused this power systemically when they have to deal with mental health, as far as also sexual assault victims, minors. There was like a big investigation about the Special Victims Unit in the New York Police Department, and it determined that there was a lot of problems with the whole system, the way it was set up. That it kind of encouraged no accountability, no transparency, and for victims to be victimized again, right?
The Division of Community Mental Health will usher in a new era for our city's crisis response and coordinate longer-term investments in preventative and ongoing care. This division will oversee the Office of Community Mental Health and manage policy for crisis response, including in vital programs like Be Heard. OCS will guide investment in Be Heard to provide more support to more neighborhoods so that the city can deliver the sort of civilian response best suited to meet moments of crisis. Finally, we will employ the Division of Strategic Initiatives as a place of innovation, somewhere where we pilot new public health-based approaches to violence prevention. Here, we will develop new programs to meet the ever-evolving needs of New Yorkers and to proact.
So it'll be basically civilians, helping civilians instead of police doing the work of social worker, case managers, case workers, but it'll be mutual aid, people helping each other.
Actively create healthy, dignified communities across this city. Today is a day of ambition, a day where we commit to approaching public safety with the complexity and the innovation that it deserves. The work that Renita is undertaking is how we will lower crime in New York City, and it is how we will make our city safe for every person who calls it their home.
The right wing is having a meltdown about this. They're really saying, oh, the crime is going to go out of control. It's going to be the new San Francisco. It's going to be the new place where crime is going to be out of control. And have we tried it? Like, we haven't tried this. So let's give it a chance and let's see how it goes before we decide it's a bad thing.
As I appoint Renita deputy mayor today, and as we formalize this commitment to improving safety through this executive order, we are taking a great stride forward in serving the New Yorkers who expect that government will keep them safe.
Yeah.
I want to thank all of the advocates, the city workers, the practitioners, the community leaders, the elected officials who have created this vision and are here with us today. Because what you have all done for so long is underscore the importance that city government must place in delivering safety in every single manner in which it must be delivered to each and every New Yorker.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you because if it was not for your years of advocacy, of work, and of belief that tomorrow could be better than today, we would not be here beginning with the words of a good afternoon. So thank you.
So it should be led by health workers. Mental health should be led by health workers, not by police, not through incarceration. And the right wing is having a meltdown about this, right? Especially, I read about how dangerous this is, how it's not going to work. We haven't tried it, actually helping people instead of locking them up and throwing away the key. And when they commit another crime, they just keep getting arrested, keep getting released, arrested, released, costing thousands of dollars. And then they spend their whole life in and out of jail without ever addressing their mental health issues or what's causing them to behave this way.
And I also must thank Renita for returning to public service and for assuming this great responsibility of protecting our fellow New Yorkers. You have long been an inspiration for so many across the city. You have done work both that is known and unknown, recognized and unrecognized. And you have showed us in that work the glimpses of the future that we are now bringing to the present. Thank you for all of that, and thank you for serving as New York City's first ever deputy mayor for community safety. And with that being said, it is my honor to bring to the podium our public advocate, Jumaane Williams.
So people are saying this is a big win for Zohran. Big win. While Trump is getting loss after loss, getting defeated, Zohran keeps winning, win after win after win, keeping promises that he promised.
Look what y'all did, y'all. Awesome. Congratulations. Peace and blessing, love and light to you all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for putting this together. I have some prepared remarks, but I don't think I've been this excited since we got the first monies for the crisis management system over 10, 12 years ago. This is awesome. There were so many people who worked on this when we first got the money for crisis management system on that task force to prevent gun violence. I see Erica Ford, who can never be missed up there, but was on that task force as well when former Councilman Laurie Cumbo and I joined together to create the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. And it's just awesome where we are right now. And I want to make sure I shout out my brother from another, Kay Bain, who's not here now, but has done so much work around this, who was my legislative director when we started this. And Nick Smith, who's somewhere here, who was my first deputy as well. So it's an honor. It feels like I've been away it's been a long way here, over a decade. After many years of advocacy from myself and others, that were mentioned and many rounds of fear-mongering from past leaders, I'm encouraged that the city is acting to challenge old assumptions and finally advance new approaches. What a difference a mayor makes, but that's all I'll say. It feels like yesterday, but it was before I had gray in my beard. It's a little more, my color.
What do you think? Let me fast forward a little bit. Let's hear a little bit from her, and then we'll move on to the next topic. I like to watch the whole press conference. Last time I skipped the press conference, I didn't cover some important stuff. Last time I missed the last press conference, I only covered half of the press conference, thinking the most important part happened. And then in the end, something happened, or near the end, and I missed that. Missing covering the most important issue.
Thank you, guys. Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Trying to stick
I
to positive
appreciate y'all
news,
keeping my name alive.
but there's going to be more negative news.
All right, as you can see, this is a homecoming. Okay, these folks are ready to celebrate, and I am too. I just want to start off saying I want to thank God for positioning me for a time such as this. Such as this. I want to thank Mayor Mamdani for his bold vision for safety and for the opportunity to serve the great people of the great city of New York once again. I want to thank my husband, my children, and my family for answering the call with me. I want to thank each and every advocate, organizer, resident, and public servant that stood firm in the belief that we could imagine something more than we've been given, and who stand here at the ready to create something more than we could imagine. Most importantly, I want to thank my community for keeping me safe so I could stand here before you today. My community, South Central Los Angeles, we're in the 90s, a now 40-plus year veteran of the Postal Service, navigated her children through the epidemics of gun, drug, and gang violence, poverty, civil unrest, and disparate health outcomes, to after-school and enrichment programs, and gifted and talented classrooms. From Pentecostal churches to bring your child to work days, to the halls of prestigious universities.
That's it, Department of Community Safety. What do you people think? Do you think he'll be successful? Or will New York City be bombarded with crime like the right wing claims? I don't think New York City will be bombarded with crime just because the New York Post or whatever other newspaper says it will be, or Fox News. So the war in Iran has been escalating, right? They're saying basically that China has been involved more heavily than what we suspected, right? China has been providing weapons to Iran, and as a matter of fact, the United States today brought down one of America's deadliest weapons. It's a plane that sends missiles. That supposedly it was the plane that could not be shot down, could not be detected, right? Give me 1 second, let me pull it up. So China has become more and more strong speaking, right? They've been condemning the U.S., right? They've been condemning the U.S. and using very strong language, right? Very strong language against U.S. intervention in Iran, right? Let's listen to what he has to say. So they're encouraging the immediate so he's saying it's unacceptable to target civilians and to do all types of stuff that the United States has been accused of doing. So he's saying it's unacceptable, and China seems to be, according to reports, China has been providing intelligence, and now we determined that China might be providing logistics, and um, that's how Iran has been able to take out some of the American jet fighters, because these jet fighters are not detected by normal radar or sonar. It's uh, but it's been detected by Iran, and Iran has been shooting them down. Which weapons did they get? That's a good question. But the point is that China is getting more and more impatient with the United States, um, and that's dangerous, right? We don't need China being involved in this war. Russia also has indicated that they've been providing intelligence to Iran. And then the European countries are really upset at the United States because of all the bombing of the oil fields. Europe depends on liquefied gas, right? But we made a bad move, right? By allowing the Israelis, they admitted to bomb the Qatar Iranian oil field, gas field, and it was a joint venture, right? So the calculation's changing because some of the countries are getting sick and tired of the continued uh, bombardment uh, of these targets, right? Let's listen to her. Yeah. hmm I thought it was in a war. I thought it was excursion. Now you're saying it's a war. The majority said no. Oh, yeah. So China's getting the oil. China's getting, India's getting the oil that we are starving for. So they don't really care if we don't get the oil. It's better for them strategically, and that's now pressuring Donald Trump to do the unthinkable of lifting sanctions. He lifted sanctions, or they think of lifting sanctions from Iran, right? They're gonna lift sanctions, pretty much. Does that make sense? Everyone, double tap the screen, like the live, share the live. Let's make this live more popular. And definitely, China doesn't appreciate how heavy-handed the United States has been. It's only been thinking about its own interests, but it hasn't been thinking about the world's interests or even China's interests. So now China is the voice of reason in the world. China's the voice of reason in the world, and this is the who we listen to instead of listening to the United States. And so let me play it one more time.
Welcome back. Well, it is official. China agreed to the president's plan to postpone his Beijing trip by 5 or 6 weeks. The 3-day summit and meeting with Xi Jinping was initially scheduled for the end of the month, March 31st. We don't have a new date specifically, but it will be, the president told us, within 5 or 6 weeks. The commander-in-chief also saying he needs to stay stateside.
Oh, you caught me. You can hear me munch, right? Need a little sugar to watch this. I don't know why so many people like Fox News and they're reporting, but China is not cooperating as Trump thought. Russia is not cooperating. The European Union is not cooperating. They don't have no interest in joining the war. They're still getting oil, while the United States is getting hammered
In
with
Washington,
the
with
prices.
the ongoing Iran conflict as he prioritizes energy policy and securing the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Beijing has rejected President Trump's request to help secure the key oil passage. He's asking allies to send warships there. But China is claiming to urge all parties to, quote, immediately stop military operations and avoid further escalation. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow.
Trump is the ally, right? Get my sugar up a little bit because this is getting strong, right? They ignored Trump's request and instead said they're gonna send a ship, maybe to protect China's interests, because China's oil is flowing. They're getting their oil.
Gordon, of course, last time you were with us, you were very clear. You maintained that President Trump should not go to China, obviously, during this conflict. And of course, we all agree with that. The commander-in-chief needs to be here while this war is underway. But I want to get your take on China's support for Iran, because, you know, while we all talk about, President Trump wants all the allies to send warships to the region, and of course, most of them will.
Most of them are not sending warships. Most of them are putting excuses, ignoring Trump. And so even our biggest allies are not supporting us. Everyone, double tap the screen, like the live, share the live, subscribe to the channel. Let's get to as many people as possible. And what do you think? Trump postponed his trip. China's also saying that they don't like the way Trump is handling this, that he's trying to bully everyone. They've been openly critical of the United States. Usually, China doesn't get involved in these
See what Japan
situations.
says today. She's at the White House. Most of them have said, no, we're not going to do that. I mean, the idea that China would send a warship to Iran when we know how complicit China has been, and we've been talking about this for so long. Talk to us about that. Your reaction to China during this conflict.
Maria, clearly Beijing does not want to change the status quo.
Yeah.
And the reason is that it's getting oil through the strait. Iran is letting tankers on the way to China go through the strait.
Exactly. So why would they stop it?
Why should they?
Exactly. Why would they stop it? Why would they stop? They're getting oil, and the United States is using a lot of weapons, depleting their weapons, and the United States had already put tariffs on China and disrupted the Chinese economy. So China's okay with the United States imploding on itself and not being having allies, making themselves look bad in the world stage.
Have any participation in something where they're always getting what they want anyway. So it is unrealistic to think that the Chinese would help us at this critical moment.
Well, I mean, it's even more than that. I mean, China has been helping Iran, I mean, we've identified plenty of ways that China has been helping Iran over the last years and certainly months. And the Journal this morning is out with a new piece. They write this, how China is quietly helping an isolated Iran survive. Writing this,
Anyway, ever since they put the sanctions on Iran, China has been helping Iran to avoid the sanctions by buying their oil, right? And so this is the statement that China, through its ambassador, issued,
对这一
right?
说法感到震惊。我们一贯反对在国际关系中使用武力、杀害伊朗国家领导人和攻击平民目标的行径，更不可接受。当前中东地区战火延烧，紧张局势升级外溢，尽快停火止战是国际社会的普遍愿望。中方敦促当事方立即停止军事行动，防止将地区局势推向不可收拾的地步。
So they want China's saying that they want a ceasefire. We need a ceasefire now, China's saying. And right? That's just a reality, right? And that talk about the meeting with Japan that they meet, but Trump made some little like off-color jokes about Pearl Harbor. And so it caused her to just stare at her watch, right? So let's see what she has to say. She looked uncomfortable, right? With Trump. Very uncomfortable. And he made some off the cuff remarks that made her feel even more uncomfortable. No type of embarrassment. And it's funny because China didn't even provide a tanker, right? China didn't even provide a tanker or provide it's, I mean, Japan is not allowing it, right? Uh, Japan is not even helping out Trump, right? So that's just a reality, right? This is what he's saying that um, we had troops there stationed in Japan, and we've been protecting Japan for a very long time. And so Donald Trump wants Japan to do whatever he wants them to do. But people are saying this is crazy because now the Epstein files have come out, and unredacted Epstein email apparently contradicts core Trump claim, right? So Representative Dan Goldman revealed an unredacted 2009 email on the House floor Wednesday contradicting President Trump's long-standing claims about Jeffrey Epstein's relationship um, to Mar-a-Lago. Trump's attorney, Alan Garden, stated Epstein was never asked to leave the club directly, contradicting Trump's public assertions that he kicked Epstein out. The email documents Trump's deposition responses, where he stated that may have been on Epstein's plane with no young girls and may have been to Epstein's residence. Trump has publicly denied being friendly with Epstein and claimed he was never on his plane. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt asserted Trump expelled Epstein for being a creep. However, evidence contradicts these claims. Trump appears thousands of times in the Epstein files. Photographs showed them socializing 1980s to 2000s. Flight logs document Trump on Epstein's aircraft, and membership records show Epstein retained Mar-a-Lago membership until October 2027. 2007. Sorry. Want more break? Yeah, that's it. So Epstein is getting Trump upset because there's more pictures coming out, there's more news coming out, and that gets him upset. Everyone, double tap the screen if you're on TikTok. Subscribe, hit the follow button if you're on any other platform. Subscribe, hit the follow button as much as possible. I'll only be on for another 10 minutes. I'm trying to cover as many topics as I can in those 10 minutes because there's so much going on in one news day, right? So much going on today, 3/20/2026. So March 20, 2026, right? So Zohran is having a good day. He he's actually is having a good day as opposed to Trump's team. Um, there was a lot of them under subpoena, right? Cash Patel, John Ratcliffe, and other national security officials testified on global threat to the U.S. and conflict with Iran. Director Gabbard, few other questions on with Iran, and then a whole bunch of things that are happening, right? A whole bunch of things that are happening. Leo G 918. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for liking the live. You're keeping the live alive with what you're doing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay. So not only did we see the Trump administration get rid of sanctions against Iran oil, but it's actively trying to purchase Iran oil. And this is disturbing because if they had a master plan, the master plan should be better than this, right? The master plan should be better than this. But what I keep hearing is that Trump has a plan. You just got to give him a time, right? Give him a little bit more time. He has a master plan that no one has seen except for himself, right? So let's see the next video. How juicy it's getting for all those people involved, right? Because you can't hide from the truth, people. As much as you want to hide from it, you can't hide from the truth. Impossible. So, Kane and Hexak gave a briefing today. And apparently it was a disaster. It didn't go like he thought it would. Let's see. Yeah, these programs never work the way they do. Trying to find the right article. So Tulsi Gabbard was testifying for the Congress. She's the national security chief, right? And I don't think she understood what they were asking her, right? Let's check. Give me 1 minute. Uploading the video. Right? Okay. So let me pull this up. This interview was ridiculous. That's why Democrats are so upset. But in the end of the day, it's rough. A lot of people backtrack. Wanted to run. And then there goes Tuckercarlson. Let me play the conference first. Let me stop jumping around. Right? Okay. All right, let me share this. The grilling of Tulsi Gabbard in Congress today. She got these people don't know what they're doing. Listen to it. Let's listen to Congress.
That the president is the only person that can determine if something is an imminent threat or not.
The president's commander-in-chief gets to make a decision about what's an imminent threat. The intelligence community, well, the intelligence.
Reclaim my time.
The intelligence.
Reclaim my time.
Intelligence community has provided a body of intelligence
my time.
that
Here's the reason why is that if the president can determine and ignore what you're doing, why do you guys even have a job?
Wow. He told them, why do they even have a job?
What does the intelligence community assess Israel's goals in this war to be? And are those goals aligned with the goals of the United States?
The objectives that have been laid out by the president are different from the objectives that have been laid out by the Israeli government.
And how do they differ?
We can see through the operations that the Israeli government has been focused on disabling the Iranian leadership and taking out several members, obviously beginning with the Ayatollah.
Which Japan didn't like, right? Japan complained about it and said that you shouldn't be taking out leaders of Iran because it's causing destabilization, and that means that anyone can take out any one country's leader whenever they feel like it, right? Whenever they feel like it, they can take out each other's leaders and no one can stop them. And that's a big problem, right? That's a serious problem. So I'll be on for 5 more minutes. I got so many stories to cover. So many stories to cover. Not enough time in the day, right? This is crazy.
And the supreme leader.
This was so crazy.
And they continue to focus on that effort.
So how does that differ from?
Sorry, this was yesterday.
The president has stated that his objectives are to destroy Iran's ballistic missile launching capability, their ballistic missile production capability, and their Navy, the IRGC Navy and mine laying capability. The totality of threats, yes, there were timelines involved where it applied and where that information was available. But again, to your question about the determination of imminence, the president makes that determination based on the totality of information and intelligence.
The bottom line is there is no imminent threat, and you know that, and there's no product that shows that. I yield.
The cost of war weighs very heavily upon me and my colleagues here, especially for those of us who have experienced and seen the cost of war firsthand. My own personal and political views, as I mentioned earlier, I was asked and required by Congress and by the president in this role as the Director of National Intelligence to check those views at the door to ensure that the intelligence assessments are not colored by my personal views.
Director
and that's
Gabbard,
exactly what I am responsible to deliver.
Do you still believe that war with Iran would be so costly and devastating that it would make our wars in Iraq and Afghanistan look like a picnic?
Once again, in this role, it is essential that I do not allow any of my personal views on any issues to color or bias the intelligence reporting that we deliver to you and to the president.
In other words, she has no opinion, right? She has no opinion, people. That's what she's saying. Right? She has no opinion, and she defers to the president on everything. She defers to the president on everything and anything. Right? It's ridiculous. This is the leaders we have now. These are the leaders we have now that defer to other people and refuse to criticize Donald Trump, refuse to criticize his administration. Everyone, double tap on the screen, like the live, share the live, subscribe, hit the like button. and hit the like button, right? I appreciate you. So this is Netanyahu's response. Netanyahu, the West must be strong to survive. Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Wow. So he addressed the nation of Israel, but he also spoke to Americans directly, right? He spoke to Americans directly. Right? Okay. Let me share the video for you. Netanyahu, in the meantime, addressed the nation of Israel, updating them as far as how the war is going. And he has a totally different attitude, right? He's like, whatever. He's not taking it seriously, right? Listen. Wow. Bizarre, right? His attitude. He's like, he feels like we're going to support him no matter what. So he's preparing his own soldiers. He's preparing his own missile strikes. And today, Donald Trump said that the United States was not behind the port, the bombing of the port in England. I mean, in Qatar. Let me look him up. Actually, I haven't pulled up. So let's see. Let's see what Hassan Piker has to say about this. All right, let's put Hassan Piker. He knows a lot about the Middle East. I wish he was here live on the program, but I'll get the scoop from here. All right, let's see. Let's see what Hassan has to say about today's development in the Middle East, right? Let's see his what he has to say about the developments in the Middle East, right? One day I'll have him on so he can speak about this issue. He's a busy guy, right? Let's listen to Hassan. What he has to say.
Like they're packing up the contracts. They just don't have the capability. That is an unbelievable energy crisis. That's precisely the reason why Donald Trump came out last night and said this dumbass Truth Social post that I replied to. I said, everybody panic now. Statement from President Trump on the South Pars gas field. Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. I mean, I just didn't think that the end of the world would be so funny at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, this man is a wordsmith, brother. What do you mean? Out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed.
So that shows that, according to Hassan, the desperateness of Trump and how badly planned. They weren't expected to do this. They're pulling defensive weapons away from South Korea. They're having ships sent from other parts of the world to try to keep fighting Iran. So we should be okay, hopefully, but I don't know about that, right? I can't guarantee that we're going to be okay.
Out at a
right? Can't guarantee.
Major facility known as the South Pars gas field in Iran. Like, Israel just got real mad. Who knows why? And then they just lashed out at a facility. It's so funny to describe Israel escalating its unlimited bombing campaign to new targets that are predictably going to cause energy collapse in the world. And it's just the way he tries.
That's the biggest worry, right? The energy collapse across the world. That's the biggest worry people have, that possibly the energy crisis, the energy resources could collapse and the prices could shoot up. They already reported that gas prices are going to go up like crazy this end of this month. Crude oil, right? It's possible. We see a video of our profile that walks the battle, which would cause prices to triple, energy to skyrocket, inflation to get out of control, and there's nothing we can do about it. Right? We can't do anything about it because we know that monetary policy and fiscal policy are very slow. What can Congress do about it? What could the chairman of the Federal Reserve do? That, by the way, don't like Trump. Trump tried to get the chairman fired from the Federal Reserve. I mean, what else can I say? What else can I say? We got to listen to each other and understand that we're in it deep. We're in it deep. We're like in it real deep. And even if you don't want to admit it, we're pretty much in over our heads. Some of America's strongest ships were damaged. The USS Lincoln, the 2 warplanes had to do emergency landings because they got hit by Iranian missiles, thinking that they were not seen in the night sky because most other countries do not have advanced radar or advanced system to be able to detect them. However, Thailand is a bigger country. It has a lot of ability to detect the monetary policy, right? So thank you for joining me, everyone. I appreciate you all. Let's see, what else am I going to cover? You tell me, what should I cover? All right, what should I cover? Because sometimes I have pre-sorted links of information I'm going to reference to, but sometimes it's easier just to do things your way. So, but I do appreciate you all. I'll be ending the live in about 3 minutes, 5 minutes. What story should I cover? Everyone, what story should I cover? Which is the last story I should cover? The Hextech thing. There's Tuckercarlson going hard on Trump. And supposedly they were thinking of, the people were spreading rumors that Tuckercarlson was under investigation, that he will be arrested. Now they spread rumors that Kent, the ousted former CIA agent, now Donald Trump's intelligence person that just resigned. He had a lot of issues with the war, he claimed. He was known to be a white supremacist or sympathizer, and he resigned from the top, one of the top national security roles. And so the reality is that I think the analysis of Hassan Piker is 100% right?
Describe it as like the New York Times trying to write about an incident where Israel blew up a school with orphans or something. You know what I mean? You know how like the New York Times loves never putting the blame directly on Israel when Israel has blown up yet another, orphanage or whatever? That's Donald Trump's own version of like passive voice, but he's obviously incapable of writing in passive voice because he's not the New York Times editor, right? Like the New York Times editor has spent decades upon decades correcting and perfecting its passive voice when it comes time to like writing about police involved shooting incidents, right? As though bullets materialize out of thin air. And the same thing for Israel, right? So when Donald Trump tries to do that, it just comes across very funny. Like it's hilarious to watch a genuinely.
So do you think that other countries are laughing at the United States? I mean, do you think the other countries are laughing at the United States? It seems like they might be. Everyone, double tap the screen, like the live, share the live. I appreciate you all your likes, wherever it is. Now streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Substack. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me see. Hassan is hilarious, right? But he's laughing at Trump right now. He's saying Trump is a disaster. Trump is a disaster, and it's making the country look so bad. And Israel is also making itself look bad. So the United States are really isolated. And Donald Trump and his people are pretty much calling them out about how they feel about the war. Right? Everyone has a different feeling. But no Republicans allowed to say they don't like whatever Hassan Piker is saying. Right? All right, let me see. Should I move away from Hassan, or should I cover the Iran, or go back to New York City politics? I mean, it's too bizarre for me. All the things that are happening, all the contradictions. And I said it, that there was going to be conflict. It's been too quiet, too nice, everyone. So So how does he get away with all the things he does? That's my question. Right? How does Trump get away with the things he does? So let me see. I only have a few more topics left. So what do you want me to do? Keep covering Iran? Cover local politics? New York City politics? I try to mix it up, right? Just keep covering the same topic over and over, but cover different topics. So let's see. Let me see.
Holy cow, new numbers just came out. The number of troops wounded so far, U.S. troops, 150. The previous number they had given was 8. They had said that 7 had been killed and 8.
And while in the same time this is happening, Trump canceled he rescheduled his China trip, and then the Republicans are trying to pass the SAVE Act.
I'm not opposed to voter ID requirements
because they feel like that's the only way they'll be able to salvage the whole war, right? All right, let me see. Like, are we picky on him? Are we picky on Donald Trump? Like John Fetterman said, outrage after Trump's favorite Democrat cast decided vote for his nominee. So it's going to continue, people. I'm going to continue this show tomorrow. I appreciate you. Shall I leave you with Tuckercarlson? So Tuckercarlson saying that there might be a nuclear weapon being deployed. That's his opinion. That if things don't get resolved, it's going to end up being a nuclear weapon. So I hope not. And I hope they could get along. But these countries are going to tear into each other. They're going to tear a new horn to each other. But at least Zohran's getting some wins, right? At the minimum. And I hope you have a good day. Have a good night. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be covering so many more topics tomorrow. All right? Make sure you join me. I'm Celso Garcia, signing off from New York, live from New York. It's 2:05 in the morning. I've been up since 7 o'clock in the morning yesterday. So I'm hitting it hard. So I appreciate you to hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button as hard as you can. And also all the likes, shares, and have a good night, everyone. Peace be with you. And may God be with you wherever you are. And be careful how you watch the coverage. Because there's too much disinformation. Right? Too much disinformation. All right. I appreciate you. I don't even want to end it with all these people on. Right? But I'm going to end the live and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Many blessings. Right?